All right, let me start over then. I realized I needed to talk about this in a very specific way, because I don't want to dogpile. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be angry, but I also don't want to defend. I want to come at this from someone with over a decade of experience being a staffer, a coordinator, a host, an admin, occasional chair of conventions in the area since about 2015. Really more so 2016, but 2014, 15 is when I kind of started just doing little staff stuff outside of just my small little local con. And really just if you've been to an anime convention in New England over the past decade, either you've seen me or you've seen an event that I've most likely put on, especially if it's cosplay. Anything, like I've done things for Masquerade, death matches and chesses and dating games. I've helped with photo shoots. I've helped small cons more than anything. And I generally put myself out there to help, because when I started going to conventions from being, in the middle of nowhere to my first convention being Otakon back in like early aughts, like that was a game changer, and I had way too much fun. And I want to make sure that I give that experience to, new generations of nerds and geeks and enjoying those conventions and making sure they have fun and they feel safe. And that's something I've always strived to do. So when there's a new con, I want to help it. And I have years of experience with that. And that is above my VTubing activities, right? Because first and foremost, I'm a teacher. Secondly, I am a convention organizer and coordinator and all that. And third is the VTubing. VTubing is a hobby. It is never going to be more than, what it is. I tell myself, if I ever get popular, I'll know to stop if I ever get to a point where I don't thank a follower for following, right? Like, that's too much. That's too much for me. That's already too much. I don't want to get partner. I don't want to get big. I want to do my thing. I want 5 or 6 people to watch as I play my little JRPGs and as I beat them all at Fall Guys. That's it. So I'm not coming to this from any sort of ego or clout chase or anything like that. I'll tell you the ending now. In that I want this convention to do well. I think it needs to wait another year and to cook in the kitchen. And I still want to help them. I want them to help, but I would also be remiss if I didn't say what the past years have been like, where I find there's positives and negatives and things that need to be kind of not addressed, but approached. I'll play RPGs and smear us all at Fall Guys, really. I've beaten everyone in Fall Guys. Even you. Even if you don't think I have. Even if you don't think so. Were you part of a Lara's tournament? Then yes, I did. 99.9% of you, I did. But that aside, so I'll give you a bit more of my background, so kind of a why should we listen to you on this, right? So again, over a decade. Doesn't play Fall Guys, so nice try. I still beat you at Fall Guys then. Yeah, so as I've said, staff, coordinator, host, admin, chair, different conventions that I have worked at or I do still work at are ones like Anime Boston, Kineticon, PortCon Maine, AAC, otherwise known as Another Anime Con, Pop Cult, Breast Soul, PAX East, Queen City Kamikaze. There's a horde of other small cons that I've helped. One of my favorites was a small free con with maybe 100 total people over 2 days, held for free, in a library in a small town in New England. And I will work the whole weekend. I'll pay for a hotel and I'll stay there and help them out because I enjoy doing that. One of the ones I just said, Queen City Kamikaze, that was held in Manchester, New Hampshire, in a high school, for a day. And they would regularly get about 250 people. It was great. There's a lot of passion in those communities. PAX East, BB, who's in chat right now, and a couple of our friends, we ran VTubing panels at PAX East for a couple years. So we've done a lot. We had like this community, this area, this New England area. This is my turf, right? And even if I don't go to all the conventions anymore, I still work as many as I can. You know, I'm a teacher. It permits me free weekends, but sometimes scheduling just does not work. I will never make it to Colossal East again because that's the beginning of the school year. MagFest, same thing. After Christmas break, no, they don't like me taking days off. But yeah, and I just I pinned it. I just want people to be respectful as we talk about it. And I want to first address if you are upset by everything that came out, the feelings like that, like it's gonna close, the feeling of loss of, you know, it not happening to the extent that it was, the kind of feels of betrayal and stuff like that. You're allowed, like you are 100% allowed to feel that way. It is fair. Like I mentioned before, we've had a lot of conventions close, like the past 5-6 years, and we've lost a lot of kind of that social outlet that a lot of us enjoy. Even small events have had to close, and I don't even mean cons. I mean like small event, like 3 to 4 hour events. People just can't run them anymore. The most recent example would be Pop Cult, which was a convention that was very loved. It was very community focused, and the people would work it like they loved doing that. But money wise, it just became too much, and they just could not afford to keep running it. Which was very, very sad. And like I was very honored to be allowed to be on the staff for their masquerade, to be their host for the masquerade, the last one. But it, you know, it's sad. It's kind of what we're in. So when we hear of a new convention, very exciting. It is very exciting news. It does not matter if it's anime, VTube, or whatever. It's new convention, very exciting news. So I will start with kind of a timeline. I might jump around a bit because while I do public speaking, there's a bit more like I'm more host, and that means I'm more of someone who makes other people look better, introducing other people, like making them amazing. So it's just talking about me, myself, and other things that not as skilled, but you know, I'll do what I can. But anyway, we'll go to the very beginning. First announcement. Hey, there's a new convention. This is like, I believe, beginning of July. So we're approaching a year into their first announcement. Hey, there's going to be a new convention. Here's the information that we have. It's going to be sometime like, you know, they announced, I think, the con first. I have a timeline I wrote down. Con first, and then they gave a venue and a date a month later. So we didn't know where. They just said it was going to be in the Boston area. And that was all we heard for, I think, 2 weeks. And in that time, I did get on their website and I applied for staff and volunteer. Mind you, I did not ever hear back from that first application. And the form was just one single form. It was not separated. It was staff/volunteer. So I put in all my experience. I did not talk about or promote the VTubing side that I do because this is a convention. There's a cosplay area. I'm going to focus on the cosplay area. That's what I do. So I applied. I did not hear back. And we get to like, you know, saying that guest applications have closed 2 or 3 weeks later. Okay, cool. They must have gotten a lot of applications. I then looked on the Discord for, hey, when is or when are we going to hear back about the different applications, like the volunteer one, the staff one. And I'm thinking, mind you, I'm not looking at their website too in depth. I apply and I'm seeing this as a convention. I'm not thinking of this as a for-profit. New England, we have, I think, like 2 for-profits, which is like PAX East, and like there's a another Comic-Con. Everything else up here is nonprofit. Anime Boss is nonprofit. Arisia is nonprofit. All the other big conventions up here are nonprofits. So when you say staff, that is the staff. That is the people working the convention. Volunteer is entirely different. Volunteer is you show up and we will give you a vest. Like if you've ever gone to AB, they have like orange vests, and they're just kind of directed to help line managements or seating or whatever. They're just pointed in directions to go or to make runs for things. They don't really have a department outside of volunteer. So when I am applying, I see staff volunteer and I see the different departments. I'm thinking, oh, this is applying for staff, right? So that's what I do. And let me find I saved some pictures for me to make sure I don't get things incorrect. And it wasn't until about because I didn't hear after a while, right? And says like September 5th, someone actually does ask, hey, when are we going to hear about staff and volunteer, right? And they said that they were not, at this time, under this staff volunteer form, they were just looking for volunteers, that they are not accepting staff, which seemed weird. They said that they were primarily all set with staff. Let's see. I know the wording's a little confused. Where is it? We're a little confusing, but in general, we're only looking for volunteers right now and do not have plans to expand the staff. There might always be exceptions, which sounds weird just from someone who has worked conventions, in that there's never a follow-up reply. And when you apply for a convention, you're applying initially for staff, usually, because as someone who's staffed regularly, that means, okay, that usually gets a hotel room comped, usually get, like, in general, right? There could be differences that we need to be told, but mind you, none of this has been told yet. This is my assumptions at the time. Is like, okay, they'll probably comp my badge and comp hotel room if I am accepted as staff and I put in so many hours before and during and after the event. And so I see, oh, we're looking for volunteers. And I'm not reading volunteers as people to work different departments. I'm thinking of Anime Boston, where there's orange vests and they're looking to point in the different directions to help work. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, maybe I'll apply again. But I'm a little disheartened, but whatever. Like, I'll keep my ear to the pavement and I'll see if there's an opening in that staff. And I do, at this, I'm still reaching out during this time. There is someone who's regularly interacting on their Twitch with different art, because people look for mascot designs. There's a social media manager who's in a knight helmet, who's making little memes and stuff. It's interactive. And thank goodness, and we'll get to why. Thank goodness I was looking at the Twitter, not Instagram. But I'm looking at the Twitter and it's really active. The guy's interacting with people, replying to tweets, very much what you want from someone who's working kind of like that PR, media managing, all that, all that fun, funky stuff that I do not do well myself. So this goes on for a while, and I'm going through my convention circuit at this point. We've had Pop Cult already, we've had Kineticon, we've had AAC, where I might have gotten some brain injury, don't know. We've got some small events going on, and I'm still not hearing anything from OnKey. I've mentioned it to a few people, but no one locally has any idea what I'm talking about, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. So, okay, so no one else around knows what it is. Even some of the VTubers I am friends with aren't as aware. And I have to tell them all about it. So we fast forward to about January, and I'm like, I'll try applying again, right? Because the form is still up. And maybe it got lost. I never got an email back. So I apply again, same information. I can't remember if I mentioned the VTubing side that I do, but I put in all of my convention experience. And I do get an email that my app was received this time. So, okay, so they got the second email or a second application. That's fine. But after that, I still don't get any word. And, it's not something I can spend a lot of time like attending to, because like, okay, this is busy time as a teacher. This is also like I've got to get ready for both PAX East and I've got to get ready for AB. So as we're approaching, mind you, like they're still regularly posting partnerships and different VTubers and groups that are going to be joining them, and there are a number there that I'm excited to see, that I would want to see. You know, Alaris like said they're going to be there. Phoenix, who keeps ducking me for Fall Guys. Big Nose, Big Nose Bugs announced in that time frame. My model sibling Wild Spice is announced in that time frame. Red Claw is announced in that time frame. I can't remember if Socks was announced yet at that point. Can't remember if I had it. Oh, I couldn't. That's right. I could not find when they got accepted, because after they dropped, that post was removed. So I can't remember when that was posted. But we're approaching AB, and these are all posted. And I know that they went to AWA, like Atlanta, weekend anime, which is a con I've never gone to. I hear about, but like I'm New England. That is different from like you say East Coast. There's really kind of like Southern East Coast and Northern East Coast, and like most of us really go as far south as like Katsu's and Otacons and stuff. Like if you feel like it one year, maybe you'll go to Dragon Con, maybe you'll go to Holiday Mat, but that's about it. So, but we know that they went to AWA, so they're approaching the fact that they're doing AB. Wow, my neck just stretched up there, didn't it? So aware that they're doing AB, and I see, and here I'm going to talk about what I saw, and then this is like one of the first kind of tells that there's an issue, or these people, like maybe they need some more guidance at a con, and I'll explain why. So Anime Boston has Community Row. Community Row is primarily for conventions. They do have like a first floor and a second floor of Community Row. The second floor is more for like the different organizations and groups. So like the Japan department, or like, hey, you want to go for a semester overseas, or like the Japan fest that happens at like the Boston Park. Those sorts of events, where the first floor is conventions. So there's like a retro con that like I'm doing a first year of this summer. There's like a couple from Maine. There's some from New Hampshire. Like all those conventions are on that first floor, including OnKey. And OnKey's table, if I save the picture like I should have, if I'm a smart boy. Am I a smart boy? We're going to find out here real quick. Yes, I am a smart boy. Okay. So actually, you know what? Let me pull this up for you guys so you know what I'm looking at. I want image. AB table. On a brow. We want him. Save pictures. Save pictures. Dude. Or we don't, because I don't see it in there. Screenshots. Wow, you do not want to show the picture. That's sort of lame. You know what we'll do instead? We'll do a display thingy. I have it on my other screen. Play capture. This one. There we go. There we go. All right. Hi, Ashen. All right. So here's the picture. Now this is a picture that they posted before the con. And even just seeing this, like, there are three things that strike me immediately about this picture that I kind of took, like, I was a little worried. But like, mind you, this is worry that, you know, I'm seeing a first year convention that like need some help with how they approach, right? So what do I mean? First off, I can tell that they have not done their A/B research. So if you went to the table, you might not have seen this part right here. You cannot sell merch at a community table. They do that so people don't just get a community table and then sell at a premium spot in the hallway instead of a table in the vendor's room, because that would be very, very bad. Now you probably saw like the acrylic stands and a bunch of the other stuff there and wondering, well, why can't I buy it? Well, that's why. AB does not allow you to sell merch. You can sell, you know, quote unquote, sell like pre-reg and stuff for your convention. You can do that. That's in like the pro rules. But it says, it's very clearly defined, you cannot sell merch. That first tells me that they may not have read the fine print of the con. Like, they even had it set up for AB. In a second, looking here and looking around, if you're just walking by, and you see, join us OnKey Expo, da-da-da. Here's OnKey Expo, da-da-da. Here's these mascots. Unless you actually walk up and reread the flyer, you would have no idea it's a VTuberCon. I was telling people about like the first VTuberCon, they had no idea which table I was talking about at all, because there's no reason for you to think it's a VTuberCon. It looks like just another con. There's nothing differentiating it with the rest of the row. It is the new kid on the block, so it needs to pop, right? And the third part, which it's more the fact that it's a missed opportunity. You can get away with not having it say VTuber convention on there. You can get away with that. Not advised, but you can get away with it. And the way you would do that would be, where are the guests? By this point, you guys have so many guests and sponsors, and they have an easy win in this regard. So other conventions, I'm going to actually pose this here. I proved the point with that. Other conventions have a, either they've been around for a while, so people know, and they can show pictures of previous conventions at their table in their flyers. AAC does that quite often. And sometimes they'll promote guests. And with those guests, say, if it was, say, Alejandro Saab or Sayu, right? They'd show a picture of Alejandro. They might have a picture of his character Sayu next to him and a bunch of characters that he's played. You know, same with like, say, Steve Bloom or, you know, any other VA, any other director or whatnot. They would have it right there. The VTubing angle of it, though, you don't have to have a large, expansive explainer of your guests, because you have to explain who these VAs are to some people, because they might be a huge fan of Ghost in Shell, but they might not have any idea who any of the VAs, like, what their names are. They might not. But if they say, hey, this person voiced the major, they're like, oh, I gotta go get their signature then, right? VTubing, it's such a cheat code because you just have to put their model and say their model's name. That's all you had to do. Like, you know, AB had Iron Mouse the year prior. You just put, here's Iron Mouse, boom, picture. That's the promotion. So OnKey having so many VTubing guests and not showing any visual of their guest list is such a missed opportunity. And like, it felt like there wasn't foresight put into like how they were going to properly advertise to to like the different conventions, different locals, because I think, and this is guesstimation based on their AWA panel, because they post a picture of that as well. Their AWA panel, they had the merch, and they also had, I'm pretty sure it was Pin, kind of streaming from the table, which is, it's a wonderful way to kind of promote the convention, right? Like have a VTuber there to interact with and be like, hey, and like, even if you like don't know it's a VTuber con, you have the VTuber there and she's talking to people. And if she talks, like 10 people around the person she's talking to are going to hear that. And it's very visually striking. My guess is they were hoping to do that, but at AB, there's no guaranteed outlet for Community Row because it is literally in the hallway. It is really kind of like either be lucky or like bring your own kind of power source just in case, like a portable thing. There was the RetroCon I mentioned. They had a small tube TV that was there, kind of like running. It was like one of the only cons there or in the Community Row that was using anything powered, which is very striking. So I can see maybe they were hoping to do that, but that couldn't be viable. They had a banner, very good. Not many cons actually do have a back banner, so they had a positive. But the easy home run would have been showing the guests and sponsors and whatnot, and that would have easily brought people over. Easily. But unless you're looking for it, unless you are going through every single table, I don't see many people stopping to talk. I can give more info on this, but won't say anything if you don't want me to. Actually, no. Go for it, Kaya. Give me like, if you have more info, like please. Like I'm 100% for like more info. Also, did I remember to put the new? Yeah. Okay. New chat. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. No. Go for it. Like I'll wait. Whatever info you have on that. Because I don't want to move on to a different topic, otherwise. Because again, I'm not here to dogpile or call, like shake my finger, like I want to help, but part of that is being critical. But if you have more info, yes, go for it. I will also note I did see that they were only there Friday and Saturday. I don't know when they left Saturday. I just know it was after I was done my last shift and I went by the table again and they were no longer there. And then Sunday, they were no longer there. And if the worry is like, oh, there's not many people here on Sunday, we don't have to worry about it. For bigger cons, like an AB, that is the wrong mentality. That is the wrong mental. AB, I joke, is my most least social con because everyone is there, but everyone has a very specific schedule for all the events they're part of. So like there's some people who don't get to go in the vendor's room until Sunday or don't get to walk around until Sunday because they have photo shoots, they have masquerade all Saturday, they have different cosplay events and whatnot. So like you want to be there Sunday. You're going to catch people that have not had a chance to even be in that first floor hallway yet. Going to be for the last minute thing I'll try words again. Going to AB was a last minute thing for them, like super last minute. As the person running the booth say, stay with me. That would be, I think, Nightcap, right? I think that's because I know I talked to them later too. It was super unplanned and I had a few words with him about the con. Good, which is great. My concern on top of that though, I was worried as I'm a sponsor for them and the way they ran the table. So my concern, and thank you for sharing that. My concern is if that was a last minute plan, that one of the things I took away from that and the fact that not many of my friends know about it, was that there was very little look to appeal to the local area. I hate to put it this way. It's the closest way I can come up to it. And I blame my partner's brain rot for Gordon Ramsay. The first episode of Hotel Hell, there is a owner that talks about how he wants to bring in all these tourists and all these rich people from outside but they don't want to bother with the locals. For a convention, no matter how, yes, I see you, Han, haha. For any sort of convention, you need to appeal to locals. When I talk, because I talked to Knights Cap later, and I'll get to that when I did the interview to be a volunteer. I started mentioning a bunch of conventions and they're writing them down. Going and promoting yourself at other events should be part of the plan. It should be part of the original plan. Even if, and I don't, I'm looking at my model. I don't use the V-Bridger, still new to me. And I notice he's not showing as many emotions. Sorry, side tangent. Even if AB was a last minute plan, they should still have conventions as part of their plan in general, especially for the local community. They should be showing up at conventions like Kineticon, at conventions like AEC, going down to KatsuCon, going to PAX East. They weren't at PAX East. There was VTuber meetups held by Twitch. There's a community VTuber meetup. There's Twitch community meetup. Like me and Queenie and a bunch of us ran VTuber panels. VTubing is integrating with that PAX community because the PAX community is also integrating with Twitch. It's just a thing. It is a thing, and it's there and it exists. So the fact that you weren't there, like, they should have been trying to promote as much as possible. They should have been advertising to the local community. I don't think. No. There's one person who knew about OnKey when I brought it up to them, and that was BB. And that was only because BB has a friend that like was going to like do OnKey. I'm not gonna go further than that. But like, and even that was like hesitancy on their part. Everyone else had no idea because there was no local like advertising. Yeah, pre-reg up until a few months ago with the con this November. Like here's like that much I can maybe excuse. And most cons now, like they do it like the next day or the week after or whatever for pre-reg, and hotels will come down the line, right? For their first convention, like I can see, I want to give leniency where it seems viable. So pre-reg, like if people are interested, they're waiting for it, and it's not like pre-reg was just dropped. They did a countdown, and they promoted it on their social media. That, hey, pre-reg is here, and yeah, day one. I'll 100% cop. I got a VIP badge, even while I was trying to get volunteer, because I didn't know what volunteer entailed and what what was going to be permitted to me, and I was going to be fucked if I was going to allow me to not at least meet and thank Yomi in person. All right, because they said, hey, I'll be there. Just I'll sign the plushes if they're there, and that was enough for me to be like, no, I want to thank them. They helped me. They helped us with the PAX panel, the other year, and I want to thank them in person. And that was enough for me to get the VIP badge. Because I'm at a point where, professionally I can spend that extra money, and, it's perfectly fine. It was literally just, do I want to spend extra money just to make sure I can say hello and thank you? Yes, I do. That's all I wanted to do. So like, I can give some leniency there. Should it have been sooner so they can get better numbers? Yes, they should have. That time is very necessary for people to figure out if they can get time off, if they can afford it, what the prices are going to be. Like you do need that time, but I'll give some leniency for first year. Like, and there's very few areas I'm going to give that first year leniency to. But that is one. But yes, it should have been up way before that. So where I was at with AB, right? So they weren't there Sunday, completely missed opportunity. Should have been there Sunday. You're going to catch people that don't know. and they should have been advertising at other conventions. That is just, they should have been advertising just in general to the locals, but they weren't. Now soon after that, I did get like a message back, because I did talk to Knights Cap specifically, who was the one running the table, and I know they'd taken on a project manager 4 months ago. I know they've since stepped down, and I want to be clear, Knights Cap took on a lot. They did a lot more than I feel like I saw them everywhere for like those next couple months, because they were participating in OnKey's live streams. I think they were doing the interviews too. He did, yeah. He did the interview with me to be a volunteer. I'm sure he did all the others. Like, he did a lot, and I feel like he needed more credit for all that he did do. And like him stepping down, like I if anything, I want more love sent to him. Okay, because for a while he was the face of OnKey, and it was like completely out of love, and like he worked his ass off, from all I can tell. And like he like I got the email back, mind you. Like, I was told that they found my application, because I talked to him in person about it. They found it, but it was still until like May 31st that I got sent an email like, okay, you've been accepted as a volunteer. That was about nearly 2 months after AB. And nearly like 5 months since I sent in the application originally. Or the second application. And I was asked to do a calendar app, like scheduling thing for like, when can you do an interview? So I did the interview, and it was to do like, for what positions and what duties you can expect in those positions. And I did the interview, and I was accepted on June 10th. Like, mere days before this all blew up. Like, I was on cloud nine at that point, right? Because I just had a Nintendo Direct. I just had this acceptance thing. I was like, some of my kids were moving on to a different program the next day. Then I had a half day of work like that Friday. It was a great week. It was a wonderful week. That week was wonderful. It used to be wonderful. Oh, guys, it used to be wonderful. Also, I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to shift this real quick. Actually, I do need to do a 3-minute ad break. Sorry, guys. I do have to do a 3-minute ad break. Avoid pre-rolls. I'm going to switch my camera off of eBridger, because like, while it is very responsive, it is not really catching my face in a way that I want. I'm going to switch over back to VTube Studio a bit. So I'll do a 3-minute ad break. I'll BRB. We'll come back. I'll continue with like what the issues I found, and another really kind of weird sort of drop on their end that I kind of found in hindsight. Right. So I'll BRB. There we go. I hit the wrong button. My bad. My bad. My bad. All right, so continuing what I was saying. So that's kind of like that's the initial timeline, right? That was me interested, wanting to, following their social media, and wanting to be part of the event. So when everything started to blow up, yeah, I was very upset, right? Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was very upset. I had bought a VIP. I'd actually, like, while I am local, like, I could commute to the venue. I still got a hotel room at the hotel that they posted. There was no convention rate for the convention. There was just like, you could just hold the hotel room at that point, but there's no like discounted, convention rate like you would expect from like, other cons. But at that point I was like, it's fine. Like, if they come out with a rate, I'll just either hold it if I can't get a room at that rate, or I'll just get a room at that rate when they come out. Sure, whatever. So I had one for the full weekend. And part of that reasoning is, yeah, I could commute, but if I want to meet and actually make new friends, because I'm not VTubing to make a career out of it, the best I can hope for is to make new friends, And if I want to do that, being at the convention as long as possible, hang out, dragging them, like, hey, I know the area. Let's go here, here, or here to eat. Let's go here to this mall. That is very important, and I want to be on site for that. I don't want to, drive, and like however long back to my place after the con and then drive back in the morning. I'm sure my cat would love that. My partner would love that, but like I would be very exhausted by the time Saturday rolled around. So it's just easier to be on site. I might do that for other conventions as well. It's just easier to be on site. You can just walk down in your pajamas to meet up with your friends at, 11 p.m. Why not? But like, I will be honest, I have since canceled that hotel room because a lot of the reasons I wanted to go there as an attendee have kind of dried up. As far as still volunteering, I will still do that. I've not seen any of the cosplays, people kind of shift out of that. Like, OnKey, I believe, is still planning. Jupiter's here, still planning. Square One's still planning. Like, I've not seen any of those guys cancel. I think Black Bunny is still planning. But I've not seen any of the cosplay stuff shift. Not every VTuber is left. And if there's still something to run, I will still help. But as far as like spending the money to stay there, it's really not there anymore. Like, I made a joke on social media last week where I kind of made a bingo board. Or no, it was this week. Wow, it was this week. Holy crap, it feels like last week. Bingo board of like everyone that I was excited to see or meet have all canceled. So it's like, bingo, I win, canceling my hotel room. So now, like, if I'll admit, like, getting all the news while I was doing field trip stuff, and then the next day when I was doing graduation stuff, I was very elevated. Like, I was very elevated. I was very stressed. I was burnt on this. It took up like my entire work days when I need to focus on other things. And thankfully I didn't say much in the way of dumb shit. I said one thing, and of all people, HR Chan called me out in the general forum. I was like, you know what? You're right. I apologize. I am just frustrated. And like, I kind of realized I kind of back away a bit because I was just getting way too my head about things. And like, I let myself focus on the work day, work with my kids, whatever. So then I realized after a while, like, I still want to work the convention. I still want to work if it's there. But I think it needs a year to kind of recover, to figure out its flaws, to build itself up as it should, to promote itself in the community. Because the community does not know it's around. Like, unless you've been entrenched in this, you do not know it's around. Would it be cool for people to like fly in and visit all that? Yeah. But let's be completely blunt. That breaks the entire fucking purpose of it being the first East Coast VTuber con. If your argument is, well, we just want other people to fly here. If that was the point, then fucking fly to OnKey. Like, fucking fly to TwitchCon. The reason we wanted one on the East Coast is because the local people here who can't fucking go could go to this one. So why did you not promote it in the area of the people that wanted to fucking go? What? That's the point. Is there people here that want to fucking go? Yes. Hi, Lotus. How we doing? You're learning today, right? And it's expensive by itself, not even including travel from across the country. I have friends that do go to TwitchCons, go to TwitchCon like in the EU, but they go because they're really good at cosplaying. And Gorilla was like, hey, we love your cosplay of like Horizon. Can we bring you over and tour the studios? And they're like, yes. And they did that. And it was amazing for them. But guess what? That is 1% of the people. So if you don't promote locally, if you don't advertise yourself locally, if the locals don't know you exist, just like, you're going to all be like, not to make a point, you're here, you're kind of learning right now, Lotus, what I'm talking about. They're going to all be like Lotus. They're going to be like, an East Coast VTuber con? I didn't know that was around. What's going on? Don't, like, flying around the country does not work. You need to build up a local, like, energy and bring in the people. Like, we want you to bring in the people as the guests. And then we're like, oh, all these people that we never get to see are here. awesome. And you build it in locally and then have other people fly in to, partake in it. But if your advertising is not local and it's all just spread out, then at that point you're just competing with OnKey and competing with other VTuber cons, like to get people to spend their travel money for you. I want to say it was I want to say Red Claw, I think, said this yesterday. I think it was Red Claw. And he can correct me if he's wrong. That because now OnKey is a no-go, he doesn't have a convention to go to. Whereas previously he probably would have gone to like OnKey or is it Oshi Push? I think it was Oshi, but that's the one that it happened in Canada recently, I believe. As an East Coast VTuber, I didn't know, not a paid actor. There we go. Not paid actors. Disclaimers had. So like you need to and it can be anything. As long as you're incorporating the local scene. Like AB was the perfect opportunity. It was the perfect opportunity. And I'm going to be honest, it was squandered. You could have you have someone here. Hi, hello, me, hello, me, who is part of staff, is part of cosplay department. I am on stage at main events several times. Fuck, last year, I didn't get to go meet Iron Mouse because at the time that Iron Mouse was doing her meet and greet, I was in main events running the current main event. And part of that was introducing the Japanese consulate for Boston. Okay. Suffering from success, but there are people that are entrenched in that community that will do the promotion, that will work with you. Like, hey, do you want to promote this? Or do you want to sponsor this? Or help you with your tables, or tell you about all the local cons you can attend, or small local events. Because you just need to get your name out there so people know and they will attend, right? But an odd kind of bare table at EB is not it, dog. It is not it. You need to be part of the local scenes in order to be part of the bigger scenes. It's just how it is. And there are cons that work really well for that. PAX is a huge missed opportunity. Why did you not do anything for PAX? Kineticon. That is, as much as I will complain about Kineticon, and I will complain about Kineticon. I have so many reasons to complain about Kineticon, but it is still a larger convention that people do still regularly go to. Fuck, I'm helping with their deathmatch. I'm not even part of staff. I'm just really good at my fucking job. And they would regularly have a bunch of conventions there that would get people who'd never heard of them before. It worked great for them. The artists there, they make bank there. It is really good. And I'm not to shill for Kineticon, and I hate doing so, but there's always the food trucks little convention thing that they have that same weekend. It's always the same weekend, so you never have to buy food at the con. There's always food trucks right across the bridge. It is so nice. There's a tater tot one. Wonderful. Love it. Love that thing. It's right on the water too. Very nice. Anyway, I could complain for a lot longer, and there are several, but I digress. I feel like you need to build up that energy, right? But the unfortunate part is now that there's kind of been this suffering, there's this setback. It's hitting the scene harder than it would, say, 5-10 years ago. And a lot of that is because we have lost so many conventions. My schedule used to be a convention nearly every month. Maybe I would have January and December free because I don't want to work around the holidays. Especially as a teacher, I want that free time. But I used to have one nearly every month. Now I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I want, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, I could have 5, but personal issues. If you've been doing conventions for 20 plus years, you're gonna run into personal issues with some people. Just how it is. But a lot of that is because conventions have closed. They're not feasible. Even the people that do it for fun, for nonprofit, it just is too expensive for them to run it. Like they don't do the free one held in a library. That was free for them to run, but just after lockdown, it just was not really possible anymore. Queen City, not possible anymore. There's so many small conventions that just don't happen anymore. Somebody lost and like no new ones to replace them. Yeah, there hasn't been anything new. I think the closest we've had like maybe 1 or 2, like the one I'm working over the summer, Retro. That one is new-ish. I think this is their 2nd year, and I'm going up there. I'm going to run some Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. Going back to my Pegasus roots. Running some Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. And just I'll enjoy that weekend. It'll be wonderful. Wonderful. But there aren't, that's the exception, not like, what we've experienced. So when a new convention comes around and it just seems to like explode, yeah, that's going to hit the local scene, that people that knew about it, harder. And because especially the VTubing community, because we have nothing here. We have nothing. The closest we have is PAX. And that was primarily for a while, just me and my crew running a panel. Twitch was not, they weren't doing like separate kind of meet and greets yet. That was kind of a new thing this year. And then another VTuber kind of took on themselves to do a community meetup, which that went really well as well. I met a lot of people that I like, get to, Fine, I'll hydrate, Liz. Fine. You can force me. Destroy all my monsters on the field too. Rude. But yeah, and I apologize if I'm rambling a little bit, but like I get very passionate about like convention stuff. I'm very defensive of my participants. They spend their time, their money to be part of these events, to meet people, to like perform. And when that is taken away from them, or it's ruined, or it's like, like if someone just takes on themselves to make the event about themselves and not everyone else, like that'll get my goat. I'm very, very defensive of those people to make sure they have a good time. And I see a convention kind of failing that community, that gets me a little riled, now is it because that like they meant to? Of course not. And do they need a little ship correcting? Yes. I want them to be successful. Obviously I do. But I'm going to be harsh about it because that's how I am. Another part is, it's a for-profit. There aren't any for-profits really. I named 2, everything else is nonprofit. So people go into staffing this and applying for it and being part of it completely differently. Because it's not something that we have a lot of up here. We're very, very community focused. It's an entirely different vibe. Like I didn't know until I went looking on the website just this week that it was for profit, that OnKey was for profit. And that like, while that answers some things in hindsight, for a year we didn't know that. That was not an expectation on us. Why would we think it's a for profit? Everything else in the community is nonprofit. Everything. I named the 2 exceptions. All right. But that like things like that are they're normally nonprofit. So like it didn't really click for a lot of people. Now those I kind of like I rambled a bit, but I talked about a lot of my issues, right? And a lot of it is just not a lot of local. There were some things though that stood out as I kind of went back. And like when things were starting to kind of initially kind of flare up, I kind of went through and I was like, were there warning signs? Were there things that I missed? Were there things that I should have looked up? Like, was this something that like I could have prepared better, sort of thing? Like, not been like blind, like, oh boy, excited. So I went back first off in their social medias, right? And one thing I noticed first off, was I think around, let me find, where's the last post by them? Yeah, no, you're actually, Liz, you're not that far off. So around, I want to say beginning of October, from like July to October, there were on Instagram and on Twitter, there were regular posts about like, hey, first confirmed guest, first confirmed sponsor. Hey, these applications are open. Here's our first cosplay guest. And intermixed with that, they would involve themselves in the community. Hell, I made an Instagram post promoting that I wanted to do cosplay, and they responded to it and kind of retweeted it. And I was like, oh, cool. So there was engagement in the community. And there was, I don't think they ever named who it was, but there was someone in like a knight's outfit. I don't think it was Knight's Cap because they were still under a different name at that point, who was making these kind of little comedy posts about like, oh, what am I doing as far as like promoting convention for doing this and that? Like, oh, how do I make posts about stuff? Oh, what about this thing? And they're like, it felt very engaging. It had kind of that small kind of feel to it, which was good. But I checked, and the last time that person seemed to make a post was beginning of October. And kind of from that point, there was sort of, I want to say, a loss in follow through. So what do I mean? This didn't click for me for a while because I tried to just watch their Instagram. I don't follow a lot of people on Instagram. I don't use Instagram very often. So therefore following their Instagram posts was a lot easier for me, right? And it got to a point where I think it was like March or April. And I was on the website and I recognized Big Nose Bug and I recognized Phoenix VT. I was like, oh, I didn't know they were going to be there as guests. That's amazing. Awesome. Wonderful. Yeah. More reason. And it didn't click for a while. I just knew that up to that point, I had not realized that they were announced as guests. There is a reason for that. I actually did take notes. You joke, Liz, but I did take notes. I actually took notes Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday night. Yeah. So while they posted a lot of things on their Instagram, when October rolled around, they actually started missing regular announcements on Instagram. And I took note of who was only announced on Twitter. I double checked the Instagram feed, like announcements and such. This is before everyone started canceling, all right? And these were all the names of people that were only announced on Twitter and not on Instagram. And before you think, well, what about like, don't look to the website for the guest updates. Do they update it? Yeah. But there's no like a new announcement of thing. And they never announced guests on their Discord. I checked. I could not find an area where they announced guests on Discord. Or on one of the original founders on OnKey. It might have been. So I'm just quickly go through like on Twitter. These are the people that were only announced on Twitter. They were not announced on Instagram. So this is the Solar Partnership, Craven Blux. I apologize, I'm fucking up their name. Alara, all their posts about AWA, Solar Gold sponsorship announcement, Mother Lomari, Phoenix, the CarrierCon sponsorship, YFU Baby, Big Nose Bug, Hulk TV. I'm fucking up some names and I do apologize. Naomi Cello, Nekomiki, Kagami Furry, Reyes Sumar. Again, I'm gonna fuck them up. AB posts. The OnKey applications. This was a thing. So I don't know if you guys realize, I didn't realize until I was doing this research, there is an OnKey TV application. Let me see if it's still up there. OnKey TV. Yeah, because they have an OnKey TV. What's this, a special project? Yes, and there's only 2 posts about open positions for editors, writers, producers, artists. Yeah, OnKey_TV. This is the thing. It only has 41 followers. And like, it's only following 4 things. But the only announcement that this thing exists was in between pictures of Anime Boston's table and their merch. Like, that was the only post ever, was that one singular post on Twitter. Sandwiched between posts about Anime Boston. I didn't know this thing existed. How would I know? They didn't post it anywhere else that I can find. If it's somewhere else, wonderful. But that's the only place I've ever been able to find it. And then after that, the Vexpo partnership, that was only on Twitter, not on Instagram or anywhere else that I can really find. The OnKey After Dark guest panel and vendor applications. Their collab schedules, which this one was weird. So they posted, what was it? A Super Battle Golf collab scheduled for April 9th. It said in the tweet, it was, I'm pretty sure it was one of the pictures I took. Yeah, for April 9th at 7 p.m., right? That's what the picture has there as the promotion. But the tweet was made on April 10th. I don't know if this thing ever happened. Let's see, who else? Going back to the only on Twitter. Sionesis, the V-Bimbo partnership, Gentle GF, Hamudango's VT interview, which I don't think was ever announced as if they were a guest or not, just they were doing an interview with Hamu. And then all of the recent posts lately with Socks and Oshibar and all that was all just on Twitter. And mind you, it's not like that they stopped posting on Instagram, but it's like every third guest just missed an Instagram post. So they were still talking about things like going to Anime Central, which, why were you going to Anime Central? Again, local area, what the fuck? Actually, I can't remember when was Anime Central? Anime Central. That was in May. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's not a local con. That's not bringing in the locals. Like, yes, that is closer to East Coast, but like that is still flying distance unless you're really, really, really going to like make the road trip. People have. But like, and there's all the other announcements, all the other people announced, those run Instagram. You know who actually got the fucking shaft? You know who got the fucking shaft who's listed as a guest is Hero Ages? I checked everywhere on their social medias. They never announced Hero Ages. They were listed as a guest on the website. There's not a single post about him. There was not a single one when I checked on Tuesday. And again, they never did anything like announcing on the Discord. And like facts and other information kept on the Discord, like, you know, clarifications about volunteers and staff, that should not be on the Discord. Like, that should be part of the application. I know I'm going back to a previous thing, but it still annoys me. That should be on the application. I shouldn't have to look at Discord for information, right? Sponsor them and never posted or even on the website. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah. Every single tweet when they were doing a live stream, it never changed. It was always no picture and just the text, OnKey first stream, chat with us on Twitch. That was every single live stream. Unless, like, I think the only exception was the, 2 of the interviews and Battle Golf. Like the Battle Golf collab. Like everything else just like, OnKey first stream, chat with us. And I bet you that was like an automated thing. But like, going through it and seeing it so many times still kind of made me chuckle. All right, so, and like I think it also kind of says a bit that there was not enough advertising or really pushing for something focused on VTubing, on streaming, on that whole community, when the channel itself is like, I think 145 followers last I checked. Like, that should be a key part of their promotion. And they did have big collab, like, charity events and streams with like notable names at that time. But it doesn't feel like there was enough really advertising outside of the very, very niche spaces. Like, I think I got the most news about it through like Alara or people whose like their job is to go through and find that sort of shit, you know? I don't think these guys know how to promote it all. I do. And I'm not going to say in here like I know any better. Like, again, I'm a hobbyist when it comes to this. I'm a hobby streamer. Okay, this is never going to be my career. I don't want it to be my career. If I get 5 or 6 people to watch me play a video game, that's great, wonderful, and they can talk to me. We can hang out. It'd be great. But I'm not going to stand here and say that I know like how they can approach it differently. For that, you need like a social media manager or someone in marketing or something. You need someone like that, not me. But just because I don't know how to fix it doesn't mean I can't look at it and say that it's I can't say that it's not broken. Like, you can hear a singer and not know how to sing, but still be like, no, thank you. Like, I feel like I'm still entitled to that opinion, right? It feels like there was a lot more that needed to be done, but there was so much falling behind with it. And it is unfortunately like really sad because they had a lot of goodwill going into it. And I don't know who else might have been announced. Like, if of anyone, I kind of feel bad for Bolts because I feel like Bolts was the last announcement before like we got into like weird areas with like people leaving, them announcing Akuma, like all that weird stuff. Like, I feel like Bolts was the last like kind of neutral, like, oh, that's nice, Bolts is going to be there, wonderful. And then everything just explodes. I feel bad for Bolts. I do. But like, here's okay. I'm gonna try and bookend this because I don't want to rant about this for hours on end. Because you guys don't need me to go on for hours on end. I've said most of my piece, but I've been in the scene in the area for a long time. There's so many ways they could have reached out to the local community, to the conventions in the area to promote themselves to the East Coast, to the New England. They're in the New England area. And that's where they need to start and expand out from. But they started outwards and tried to then pull back in. People in the area, for the most part, didn't know. I had friends that live just like a single town away that regularly like watch VTubers that had no idea this existed at all. I have people that when AB had no idea this was a thing, even though there's a table. There was so much that needed to happen, but no one was doing it. And such easy layups. Like, just be part of the community. Don't just focus on grabbing the people on Twitch. Like, you're running an in-person event. Advertise to the people who are in person in the area. There's plenty of people just in the area that have a good small cons. Yes. There's so many good small cons. You don't need to spend much, if any, money sometimes just to promote yourself at events. Like, fuck, just get someone in the area to be like, hey, go to these events and drop our cards or drop our flyers. Man a table, like maybe a table at a small con is maybe like 50 to 100 bucks, maybe for the weekend. Sponsor part of a cosplay contest, sponsor a con and they'll put your picture in there. Fucking talk with people who are active in the communities and have them actively promote your event during different parts of the weekend. There's so many things locally that could be done that weren't done in the area. People in the area don't know that you exist. They don't. There are very few of us that do. But I have my finger on the pulse here. They had no idea, which is not good, especially if it's your first year. The 3,000 number, that is not going to happen. That was never going to happen, ever. The cons around here that get 3,000, like I'll name like let's say PortCon, right? PortCon Maine. It is a well-established convention in the busiest city in Maine. And they've been around for well over 20 years. They are known at this point. They started much smaller. And that was when it was a lot more exciting to have a local con and people were like more willing to drive and travel to those cons because there were so few of them. My first con was Otakon, and I came from the fucking middle of nowhere, 14-hour drive down to Baltimore to attend Otakon in the early aughts. There were so many ways to get an easy layup and you just didn't. And it's frustrating. It is so fucking frustrating. Like, and I'm an expert, but I'm not the expert when it comes to like the admin side of things. I've been chairs of smaller cons and therefore been able to advertise those smaller cons around. And even then, it's all been groundwork. It's all been like, posts on Facebook and small posts on Twitter and talking at different cons and talking at small little gatherings and events, talking like pajama parties and ugly sweater cosplay like events and stuff like that. And you know what? For a small little convention that's a one day in the middle of fucking New Hampshire, held in a high school, their vendor's room was maybe like half the size of AB's. And that is a lot for that size of an event. We had the high school clubs selling food, like ramen bowls and corn dogs at cheap. We had well over 200 people at a con that size. You had so many resources available to you that you did not utilize. And I'm getting that point. I'm very frustrated. There was so much you could have done. There's so many things you could still do. Connecticon not that far away. That is a large con. There's AAC. There are other larger and small cons. There's Granite State. There's other like Comic Cons. I'm not as in depth with the Comic Con community, I'll be honest, because I prefer the anime cons and other kind of niche ones, but they're still there. There are like other conventions like, Potsu in February. There's Otakon coming. There are cons that you could promote and advertise to, but you don't. There are ways to promote yourselves that you don't. The locals don't know you exist, and those should be the first people you drag through the door. I'm frustrated because you looked like you had so much fucking promise. And you fucked it. And it's not to say that there wasn't the passion, that there wasn't the drive, that you weren't excited for it. But you didn't talk to people who knew what the fuck they were doing when it came to conventions. There was such a focus on VTubing. There was such a focus on the online community, the online aspect. Hi, Evil. How you doing? There was so much focus on that. But it felt like there was no consideration on the actual convention part of your convention. And it's so frustrating. Because I want this to be good. I still want it to be good. Do I think it should happen this year? No. I don't. You're 5 months out and no one around here knows you exist. And the people that do, they're learning about this week, and that's not good. If you are planning to bring something like this locally for the East Coast, for New England area, let's be very specific, okay? New England, upper half, East Coast. You know, we'll stand out to like Pennsylvania's and stuff like that, right? Sure, let's let's call it, what it is. Then what the fuck are you doing? Don't promote at Anime Central. Don't promote at Atlanta. And don't think last minute about going to Anime Boston, which is the easiest fucking slam dunk. Don't worry about promoting online with streams. Don't worry about getting people to fly in for your event. Just worry about getting asses through the fucking door. Worry about getting the community in on it. Worry about getting locals. Hey, there's a new con. Come by and have fucking fun. Do fucking cosplay. Have some cosplay events. Have like some like anime stuff. Have some video game stuff. Have just a flurry of stuff. But we are promoting it as a VTuber convention, and here's a bunch of VTuber guests. Great. Wonderful. It's frustrating because I know you're capable of it. I know this is something that you can do. You have the ability to do so. But you're not. Fuck. I complain a lot. Online, in person, when it comes to Kineticon. And there's a lot wrong with Kineticon. I'll be honest, there's a lot fucking wrong with Kineticon. But you put aside some of those upper chairs that everyone complains about. Let's be honest. Anyone who's gone to Kineticon, you know who I'm talking about. We all complain about them. All right? Let's be completely fucking honest with ourselves. But the staff that runs it are so passionate that the community knows it. And they go every year despite how many things they fuck up. There are people who don't go for certain reasons, and I completely understand those reasons, and I agree with them in some aspects. But like, they're at the point now, they can bring in those guests, and people will fly in for those guests. We've had Amelie there. We've had the Nostalgia Critic there before he turned out to be a piece of shit. We've had Team 4-Star there. Like, that's where I got to meet. Like, fucking Living Tombstone showed up one year. Like, they actually do bring in people, and people will show up for those people. Fuck. I'm going to the gym to lose weight because I want to meet Pegasus's voice actor from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I guess when I'm on stage, that's who I fucking am. And you can bring in that people, and you have that desire. But that's part of the con. That's not the reason for the con. Don't bring in fucking, not to throw out names, and I apologize, Red and Alara and Yomi and all these other like beloved people and expect that to be the sole driver of the con, because it's not. It's not. If I'm local, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna spend money to see those people because I'm fucking local. If I'm not local, guess what I'm gonna fucking do if I want to spend that much money? Go to fucking OnKey. I want it to be good. I want them to be successful. I want it to be everything that everyone hoped. And I want the people who are volunteering. I am still listed as a volunteer and I will still work my ass off. Don't get me wrong. It is a convention in my area. And as long as people there are passionate about running it, I will be there and I'll work my ass off. Because I want it to be a success. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to hold you to the higher standard, or the standard of the bare minimum of what needs to happen. And do I think it should happen this year? No. Do I think it needs to happen after a year of pulling our heads out of our asses and figuring out what we did wrong and coming at it again, saying, hey, we fucked up. We are going to reach out to people who are more experienced in these fields. Not saying myself. I'm not saying myself. All right. I have a very specific set of skills. But like the people who locally who run conventions, or people even outwardly that have convention experience. and figure out how to approach it successfully. I've not gone off like this on stream in a while because I don't like to. But this was a lot. Like, I put in a lot of time and effort the past year, a lot of money, because I want this to be successful. And every time I got an email back saying, hey, we got your application. Hey, we want to do an interview to do volunteer work. Hey, here's a new guest. I got excited because the place this was being held, I can literally just drive there on my lunch break. Like, this was going to be local. It was going to be a new part of my convention circuit every year. And then it just had kind of like this public just shit show. I'll try and end with this, okay? I've been at this for a while. I will always work my ass off for a convention that wants to be successful. I do not care if you have 50 people expected to attend. I don't care if you have 100, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. I don't care if you put me backstage for 20 hours to, wrangle the cats known as cosplayers around to make sure that they don't like trip on their own tails, sometimes literally. I don't care if you want to put me on stage for 3 hours to make sure that everyone who's like introduced is, has a good time. I don't care if you want to put me up front, check people in to make sure that they have a good time, as long as people are having a good time. I spend so much of my free time working conventions because I love helping those conventions. I love putting on a good show. I said it earlier kind of as a joke, but it's serious. I'm helping run one of the main events at Kineticon, and I'm not part of staff because my friend is helping run that, and they know I have the experience, and they asked if I could help, and I said, yeah, I got you. I will work my ass off for no return because I want to make sure it's successful. And then come around August, I'll work other conventions. And I'll try to make sure they're successful, make sure those people have fun, because it means a lot to me. And I would love to have OnKey be part of my rotation. But you need to shove everything off your table and just start the organization all over again. You need to figure your shit out. You need to contact the people who know their shit, and you need to let the locals in on it. You cannot ignore the locals. They will be the life or death of the con in the end. You are not yet established as a solid convention. You're not going to get 500 people flying in from across the country for this yet. You can't ignore the local community. Oh, I got a little loud. Might have gotten a little loud. Might have yelled a bit. Hi. I'm not apologizing. But it's a passionate topic for me, and I felt if I didn't speak about it, then it was going to linger in my brain for too long.